Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're going to be talking about the introduction to plants. This is broken down into the purple slides of your presentation. We have plant characteristics, plant classification, non-vascular plants, vascular tissues, seedless vascular plants, gymnosperm, angiosperms, and plant reproduction. It should be about a total of about 10 slides or so. So plant characteristics. It's in the kingdom Plantae. It's multicellular, eukaryotic. These are producers by photosynthesis in the chloroplast. Cuticles, they have a waxy layer that prevents drying them out. Then you have cell walls, or rigid cell walls, made of cellulose to keep the plant upright. Then we talk about plant characteristics. Plant characteristics of these different classifications are the plant kingdom. So the plant kingdom, as a top-down web, you have non-vascular plants, vascular plants. Once it moves out of the way, the vascular plants are broken down into three smaller groups: seedless vascular, gymnosperms, otherwise known as cone bearers, angiosperms, as flowering plants, and the non-vascular plants on the left-hand side are bryophytes. An example of that would be moss. Some non-vascular plants are no special tubes to move water and nutrients. They don't have any tubes to move their water. There's no circulatory system. They depend on diffusion to move the nutrients around the plant. Then they have rhizoids, which is a root-like structure that holds bryophytes in place. They don't have real roots. They're just simply called rhizoids. An example that you might be familiar with is moss. That brings us to vascular plants. This includes seedless vascular plants, such as ferns. You have gymnosperms and angiosperms. Gymnosperms are cone bearers, angiosperms are flower. These have specialized tissues to move water and nutrients through the plant, called roots. This vascular tissue that transports water and nutrients to different parts of the plant, that vascular tissue is made up of two main transport systems. One is called xylem, and that carries water upward from the roots to every part of the plant. So I remember xylem by XY, and that carries water. So WXY. And you say xylem, so WXY, xylem for Z. And next you have phloem. Phloem are nutrients moved from photosynthesis parts, like leaves, downward to other parts of the plant. Both can move fluids through the plant, even against the force of gravity. Phloem carries food. That's going to carry it down from the leaves. Our next slide talks about seedless vascular plants. The first plants to have vascular tissue, root systems, rhizomes, underground stems from which leaves and roots grow. They have roots, stems, and leaves. An example would be ferns. That brings us to gymnosperms. Gymnosperms are also known as, or AKA, cone bearers. They do not produce flowers. They're the most ancient surviving seed plants that we know. Gymnosperms reproduce with seeds that are exposed. Gymnosperms really just means naked seed. An example would be pine and spruce trees. Angiosperms. These are flowering plants. Fruit comes from these types of plants. So your apples and all of your oranges, those will all be considered angiosperms. Examples that you might be familiar with are tulips or even the sugar snap peas that we're growing in class, and lettuce. That brings us to our last slide of this presentation, called plant reproduction. Plant reproduction happens in two-stage cycle. Alternation of generations. Stage 1, sporophyte stage. Sporophyte makes spores, which grow into gametophytes. Stage 2, gametophyte stage. The male makes sperm. You would know it as pollen. Females make eggs. Sperm fertilizes the egg, which grows into a sporophyte. That process repeats over and over again. Now that's it for today's presentation about our introduction to plants. All right, have a good day.